Until late Tuesday, tenants and landlords in New York were in limbo. The state's eviction moratorium was set to expire at midnight, leaving thousands of tenants at risk of eviction. But about 6 hours before that deadline, Governor Kathy Hochul said that wouldn't happen.
We are not going to allow people who no fault of their own, lost income, not able to pay, and facing eviction. We are not going to allow that to happen here in the great state of New York.
The next day, lawmakers returned to Albany to extend the pause on evictions. That's now in effect until January 15th of next year. It doesn't cover all tenants, just those who can show they can't afford rent because of the pandemic.
Many of them lost jobs, lost the ability to make their bills, and now the debt has been mounting. And the fact is that we are not out of the pandemic yet, as much as we had hoped.
But the terms will now be different. Before Tuesday, landlords weren't allowed to question their tenants' claims of financial hardship. Then, the U.S. Supreme Court said that part of the law was illegal. Now, landlords can challenge their tenants in court before they're protected from eviction. Senator Kevin Thomas is a Democrat from Long Island.
And we have, in this new version, put in some provisions that basically say, hey, now the landlord gets to have a hearing. I think that goes a long way, and the landlord has a say in court now.
Landlords will also be allowed to evict tenants over intentional property damage or causing a nuisance, regardless of financial hardship. In the meantime, more tenants can now apply to the state for rent relief. Tenants in localities that opted out of the state program will now be eligible as well. That pays up to 12 months of back rent, with a potential for another 3 months. That funding goes straight to a tenant's landlord. And if they're approved, tenants are also safe from eviction for up to a year. Senate Housing Chair Brian Kavanaugh.
What we're doing today is not preventing people from collecting rent. The rent is becoming due. And again, we are working very hard to ensure that we have programs that are adequate to pay that rent so that landlords have their expenses covered.
But landlords say that's not enough. The eviction moratorium has been in place for a year and a half, and landlords say that's been a huge hit. And now that there's rent relief, they say it's time for the moratorium to end. Lisa Damiani leads a coalition of property owners in Western New York.
Every step along the way, the landlords have been asked to just wait. Just wait until the CARES Act money comes through. Wait until we get the program open. Now we're waiting until, it's just, they're the only group that has been waiting perennially and nothing has come through.
Republicans in the legislature took the side of landlords, saying the moratorium should end. Instead of extending the safety net for tenants, they said the state should speed up payouts of rent relief, which have lagged for months. Senate Republican leader Rob Ortt.
And my argument is, if we're trying to solve the crisis, we have the tools to do it. We have a program with over $1 billion that we can get out the door into people's hands still. And today, we're doing nothing to solve that actual issue. And that is a real shame for both tenants and property owners.
The extension was approved largely along party lines, with Democrats in favor and Republicans opposed. Lawmakers also passed changes to the state's open meetings law, allowing virtual public meetings to continue at the local level until January. And the Senate confirmed 2 nominees from Governor Hochul to lead the state's marijuana legalization rollout. Those were former Assemblymember Tremaine Wright and Chris Alexander, an advocate who worked in the cannabis industry. Those nominees are a few months late, which may push retail cannabis sales further down the road in New York. Melissa Moore is from the Drug Policy Alliance, which supports legalization.
But I think they were also really clear about moving in such a way where they would be, working in partnership and in collaboration with the legislature and with the executive, and that everybody has the goal of being able to move swiftly and be able to get the program enacted as quickly as possible, but also doing so in a way that is, again, going to really hew true to the values and the principles that were in the bill to begin with.
Retail sales are expected sometime later next year, unless the legislature gives the industry a boost. That's not expected until January at the earliest, when lawmakers return to Albany for the start of next year's session.